Chapter 8 The Mermaids' Lagoon. The children often spent long summer days swimming or floating on the Mermaids' Lagoon. After their midday meal, Wendy always made the children rest on a rock for half an hour. It was on a day like this, when they were all resting on Maruna's rock, that little shudders began to run over the lagoon, and the sun went away and shadows stole across the water, turning it cold. Something as dark as night had sent a shiver through the sea to say that it was coming. Wendy should have woken the children, but she was a young mother and she did not know this. Even when she heard the sound of the oars and her heart was in her mouth, Wendy did not wake the boys. It was Peter, sniffing danger even in his sleep, who sprang to his feet and woke them. "Pirates!" he cried. "Dive, boys!" There was a gleam of legs, and instantly the lagoon seemed empty. The boat drew nearer. In it were the pirates, Smee and Starkey, with Tiger Lily. Her hands and ankles were tied. They threw the beautiful girl onto the rock as Peter and Wendy watched from the water. To save Tiger Lily, Peter imitated the voice of Hook. "Ahoy there, men!" he called. "The captain," said the surprised pirates. "Set Tiger Lily free," Peter ordered, "or I plunge me hook into you." "Better do what the captain orders," said Starkey nervously. So Smee cut Tiger Lily's ropes and she slid into the water. Just then Hook's voice rang over the lagoon, and this time it was not Peter who had spoken. The real Hook was also in the water. "Boat ahoy!" he called, and in the light of the lantern, Wendy saw him grip the side of the boat and rise dripping from the water. She would have liked to swim away, but Peter would not leave. "Where's Tiger Lily?" Hook demanded. "We let her go like you said," replied Smee. "Like I said," cried Hook. "I did not see anything. This the work of Peter Pan. Starkey, mind the boat. Into the water, Smee. Find Peter and take him, dead or alive." "Are you ready, boys?" cried Peter, and voices answered from all over the lagoon. The fight was short and sharp. Hook climbed onto the rock at the same time as Peter, scrambled up the other side. They met each other almost nose to nose as they reached out for the handhold of the rock. Quick as a fish, Peter snatched a knife from Hook's belt and was about to attack when he saw that he was higher up the rock than his enemy. So, to be fair, he gave the pirate a hand to help him up. It was then that Hook bit him. Peter stared helplessly at Hook, shocked by the unfairness of this action, and twice Hook's iron hand clawed him. A few moments later, the other boys saw Hook in the water, heading for his ship with fear in his eyes as a crocodile was close behind him. Normally the boys would have swum alongside cheering, but they were all very worried. They could not see either Peter or Wendy, and began searching the lagoon for them, calling their names. In the end they went home shouting, "Peter! Wendy!" but no answer came. When their voices died away, a cold silence came over the lagoon. In this silence, Peter pulled Wendy up onto the rock and lay down beside her. The water was rising, and he knew that they would soon be drowned. But he could do no more. "We are on the rock, Wendy," he said. "But it is growing smaller. Soon the water will be over it. I can't help you, Wendy. Hook hurt me. I can't fly nor swim." At that moment, something brushed against Peter as light as a kiss and stayed there. It was the tail of a kite which Michael had made some days before. "Michael's kite," Peter said, and he grabbed the tail and pulled the kite towards him. "It lifted Michael off the ground, so why can't it carry you?" he said. He tied the tail and Wendy and pushed her over the rock, from the rock. In a few minutes she floated out of sight and Peter was alone. The rock was very small now. Soon it would be submerged. Moonlight tiptoed across the water, and Peter heard the melancholy sound of the mermaids calling to the moon. He was afraid at last, like the water on the lagoon. He shuddered, and then he stood up on the rock again, with a smile on his face and a drum beating inside him that said, "To die will be an awfully big adventure."